president has authorized the counter-drug mission in the region. The fact that Maduro is upset about it tells you the drugs are coming out of Venezuela. If you wanted to make a deal with him, I don't know how you do. He's broken every deal he's ever made. Maduro has made 5 deals with different parties over the last 10 years and has broken every single one of them. They sucker Joe Biden. They're not going to sucker Donald Trump.
Well, joining me now is Carrie, Vandenberg Coalition Executive Director and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the first Trump administration. Carrie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. It sounds like the Trump administration has had enough of any kind of negotiations. Apparently, Trump was on the phone with Maduro a couple of days ago, but it sounds like that's over. What is the next step?
It definitely sounds that way, David, and I think the president has tried multiple times, both in this first administration as well as the second administration, to tell Maduro that the jig is up and he needs to give up his power to the democratically elected leadership and make sure that we're countering the drugs that are coming into the United States. I think right now the president has been extremely clear. His next step is to look at land strikes at narcotics-controlled territory, because these are drugs that are coming and murdering Americans every single day. In the last year alone, there was more cocaine deaths in the United States than in 20 years of Afghanistan. So that just goes to show how serious a threat this is, and that these are really enemy combatants that are led by Nicolas Maduro.
But taking down enemy combatants, even if they're incompetents, as the Venezuelan army is not all as simple as it might sound on paper. I think of Operation Just Cause. We're in a very similar situation, 1989, late 89, early 1990. Manuel Noriega was a horrible man, and he was basically like Maduro. He ran a drug state. He was a lot smarter than Maduro, by the way, and he still took a lot to bring him down. He, by the way, as a result of Operation Just Cause, 23 Americans lost their lives. Over 300 were severely wounded in the battles that raged as a result of that. And it took a couple of weeks to get Noriega out of there. So that is what we are facing, is it not, if we go in?
Well, I think there's a big difference here. First and foremost, within Venezuela, this is a country that has a legacy of democracy, and they actually have currently a democratically elected leader. So this is not the United States coming in and forcing its will. It's really just returning to the democracy that has been so central to Venezuela. It brought democracy to other countries in the region. So that's one, I think, critical difference. The other is that President Trump has demonstrated over the course of this administration that he is very able to judiciously use force in order to achieve direct outcomes. So we saw this with Operation Midnight Hammer, where there were concerns that this was going to start World War III. And as we saw, it actually very much ended what could have been a major war and saved significant lives by rolling back Iran's nuclear program. So I believe that this president and Secretary of State Rubio know exactly what they're doing, and that's why they've pursued the course of action that they've pursued. Assuming
the best course, that is, he's forced out and no Americans die, and that's a big assumption, but assuming that, you suggested that Maduro could simply be replaced by Miss Machado, right, is her name, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. How would that transition transpire?
Well, right now, we know that Maria Corina Machado and her team have a 100-day plus plan to retake control. And also, this is why the president's objective has not actually been just the use of military force. This is all about diplomacy. President Trump sees himself as a peacemaker. He has been increasing and ratcheting up the pressure on Maduro, both economically and kinetically, because that can support a negotiated transition process, which seems to have always been his goal, including in the first administration.
The military, though, how would you convince the Venezuelan military, even though it's run as a tool of Maduro, to get behind Miss Machado?
Well, Maduro is not Hugo Chavez, right? Maria Corina Machado won over 90% of the primary vote. And then in the election, Edmundo Gonzalez, who was her stand-in candidate, won a significant majority, close to 70% of the vote. So this is not Hugo Chavez, a huge amount of charisma, has the support of the people, the support of the military. Right now, the only thing that is keeping Maduro in power is the fact that he gives, these bonuses to the military to keep them on track. Right. And frankly, he's not able to do that anymore thanks to the economic sanctions that the United States has deployed.
Carrie Filippetti, great to see you, Carrie. Thanks so much for coming in. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি এখন আমার মনটা পুরে কয়লা হয়েছে জানি না রে কাহার প্রেমে মুগ্ধ রয়েছি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কোন আগুনে পুরাইলি তুই করলি বেইমানি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা সেই অন্তরে আঘাত দিবি আগে বুঝিনি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি আহা লা 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 লা